Kia ora e hoa, haere mai, come and join me. Hey, do you remember when we read the story My Real Dog? And I introduced you to my real toy here, Judy? Well, I thought I'd bring Judy out today because I've got a book to read here called The Monkey and the Moonbeam. Judy's a chimpanzee, but this story is about a monkey. It's by Jonathan Smith. Jonathan not only wrote the book, he illustrated it as well. Are you nice and comfy? Or maybe this could be a bedtime story. Maybe snuggle down extra comfy. And we can begin. There is a forgotten part of the world where a deep, lush jungle grows on a misty mountaintop. Hidden in this rainforest are the tallest trees in the universe, and living in these trees is a family of monkeys who love each other and their home. One of the families is a troop of 3. There's Lo, the dada, V, the mama, and Nic Nic, their inquisitive infant. Every night at bedtime in the canopy of the forest, the elder monkeys tuck the young ones into their beds of leaves, and as they drift off to sleep, the stories begin. V was known to all the monkeys as the best storyteller in the whole of the Misty Mountains. As she spoke, Nic Nic would snuggle into a soft nest of leaves and listen to her smooth, melodious voice, imagining far-off places as the Sandman sprinkled sleep dust in his eyes. One beautiful clear summer's eve, while Nic Nic was making his bed from the softest leaves he could find, he began wondering what the softest, most comfortable bed would be. Nic Nic asked his mama, "Is there anything softer and more comfortable than the leaves from this canopy that I could sleep on to give me the cosiest, best sleep?" V looked at Nic Nic thoughtfully and said, "Are you sure that it is the softness of your bed that makes you sleep so well?" "Yes, I think so. I think if I had the softest bed in the world, I would sleep longer and better and have the most amazing dreams. Tomorrow I will start searching for the softest bed in the world," he said. V smiled and began the evening story. Nic Nic was still murmuring about tomorrow's big adventure as he slipped off to sleep. Can you see him here in his nest of leaves? That night Nic Nic dreamed an amazing dream. He climbed to the top branches of the tallest tree and called at the height of his voice to his friend Crooner the crane. "Let's go on an adventure, Crooner. Let's search out the softest bed in the world." Can you see Crooner? So Crooner and Nic Nic flew all the night into the morning light. First they arrived in Tanzania, where on a hill a pride of lions was pacing. Nic Nic met a lion called Lebron with a magnificent velvety mane. But when Nic Nic lay on the lion's velvety mane, he kept trying to clean him with his rough tongue. Lebron licked and he lathered, and he wasn't the softest bed in the world. Look at the size of that tongue. He's a beautiful lion though, isn't he? Up and away the duo swept across the ocean blue to Chile, where there below was a flamboyance of flamingos. Nic Nic tried snuggling into the fabulous feathers of a flamingo called Felix, but he sneezed so much he frightened the flamboyance. The flapping of fleeing flamingos echoed across the salt flats. Felix flapped and he fussed, and he wasn't the softest bed in the world. He does look soft though, doesn't he? Crooner snatched Nic Nic off Felix's back and climbed into the sky, swooping down into a country called Australia. Nic Nic shimmied into the cosy pouch of Kay the kangaroo, but with one jump he was bounced straight out. Kay cackled and she coughed, and she wasn't the softest bed in the world. Whoops! Here he is being bounced out. So off they glided higher and higher in search of the softest bed, into the Himalayas to test the most powdery snow on the slippery slopes of Shangri-La. The snow was softer than icing sugar, but poor little Nic Nic got a very bad chill. He sneezed and he snorted, and it wasn't the softest bed in the world. Nic Nic needed to warm up, so Crooner flapped to the Bahamas and they bathed in the warm azure waters of the Caribbean Sea. Nic Nic lay on Jabby the jellyfish and listened to some whales jamming, but he couldn't hold his breath in his sleep. Besides, Jabby jiggled, and she jittered, and she wasn't the softest bed in the world. They tried the fur of a fox called Francois in France, the mucus of a manta ray named Marco in Mozambique, and the bubbles blown by a bashful whale named Bess in the Bay of Biscay. These beds were all soft, but something was missing, thought Nic Nic. That would have been fun, wouldn't it? In the bubbles made by a bashful whale named Bess. Then Nic Nic spied some cumulus clouds clustering in the crepuscular evening light. Nic Nic thanked Bess and Crooner for their help and launched himself onto a nearby cloud. A cloud so soft it was like marshmallows and cotton wool rolled into one. Nic Nic was sure this was the pinnacle of softness. What could be more soft than a cloud? Had he found the softest bed in the world? As Nic Nic was preparing for a catnap in the cumulus clouds, he felt a wild wind on his back. Turning to the east, he saw the clouds change from soft white puffs to rumbling towers of darkness. Lightning flashed and spiked through the sky. Kaboom! Went the thunder, louder than a locomotive train. The cloud clapped and it crashed, and a tsunami of rain exploded onto Nic Nic. So powerful that it almost blew him into next week. Poor Nic Nic. Nic Nic was blasted away from the storm, landing in some less turbulent clouds. Cold, wet, and miserable, he felt very tired and sad. A cloud was not the softest bed in the world. As Nic Nic was thinking of giving up his search, a moonbeam danced across his vision. Looking up, he saw the most beautiful sight. The moon's light was beaming down, shining on the clouds and the earth below. Wow, it does look impressive, doesn't it? Without thinking, Nic Nic jumped onto the closest moonbeam, sunk into its supreme softness, and sighed. He had found the softest bed in the world. It was dreamy, like he was floating on a warm, magical mist, as if laughter and music had combined into a silky support. He waited for the best sleep of his life to take him to dreamland. He waited. And waited some more. And after all his adventures and chasing his desires, Nic Nic realised that it wasn't what he slept on that gave him the best sleep in the world, but his mama's and dadda's bedtime stories. Nic Nic woke up in his nest of leaves in the canopy, just as his mama was finishing off her bedtime story. "Good night, sleepyhead," whispered V. "Good night," murmured Nic Nic. "Mama, it's not the softness of the bed, it's the love from you and Dada." V kissed Nic Nic on the forehead and smiled. "Good night, my little monkey." And that's the end of the story. Did you enjoy that story? It's lovely, isn't it? And the pictures are beautiful. And at the back of the book, there's a dedication. It's for Nic Nic, Mum and Dad, and Melody. And this picture here is a picture that Nicholas Smith drew when he was 8 years old. Nic Nic. This book, The Monkey in the Moonbeam, was made by his dad, Jonathan Smith. And if you want to find out more about this beautiful book, you can visit maryegan.co.nz. I think it would be a very good book for a bedtime story. You might like a copy of this at home, or you might like me to read it to you again and again and again. Come back anytime you like. I love reading stories with you. Ka kite, my friend. I'll see you soon.